as a caregiver pushes her 89-year-old mother against the wall. Pulling the great-grandmother's frail body out of a wheelchair by her hair.
Unbelievable, right? Like if this were common in nursing homes every day, I would really worry that we had a serious problem. And we do have a serious problem. But what is really going on inside the nursing homes, especially with these CNAs? So I'm talking to CNAs today, talking to families who need to look for certain things. So yeah, we're going to deal with a few things today. The workload of CNAs, the burnout of CNAs, good CNAs, bad CNAs, what to look for in a nursing home when you're looking, especially. CNAs are the ones that do all the care. So you need to be looking at that. Okay, so I've seen great care. I've seen awful care. I've seen people that would give their last breath for the residents and plenty more. And I've seen people in the loads that should never have been hired. So we're gonna start by looking at the workload of a CNA, okay? I've talked about this in several different videos, but the reality is, since our system is broken and how to fix it, we've talked about that in another video too. But one of the things is the workload, because they're always understaffed. Now, different ratios for different states. I did this, I have a whole big research thing on the different states and their ratios. Some states have 20 residents to 1 CNA is okay. Other states say sufficient staff, whatever that means. That's what it says here in Louisiana. So that can be a real problem, and that is where we need to get involved and call our ombudsmans and our senators and try to get this changed. And there are people that are working to get this changed now. I've looked into that too. So like Florida, it is 1 CNA to 20 residents. There's a lot of states like that. There were a few really good states, and they were mostly up north. I think Maine and New Jersey. You can let me know. So just imagine you're a CNA and it's your job. Say you've got 20 residents that day. You have to so many showers before breakfast. If you work 7 to 3, okay, which was my favorite shift to work. So you work 7 to 3, you have 5 or 6 showers, you get everybody up and dressed and changed. The ones that stay in the bed, you have to change them, you've got to feed them, you have to do rounds again every 2 hours. I mean, it never stops. That's why it blows my mind when I see CNAs sitting on their rear ends looking at their phone, because there's always something to do. Pass ice, just keep the residents engaged instead of engaging yourself. But that's a whole nother topic here in a minute when we get to good CNAs and bad CNAs. So, like I said, I'm Cherie. Worked in nursing homes most of my life. I started when I was 8 years old, just being a volunteer, and it was a lifelong love of mine. Still is. It's where my heart is. So, CNA for years, activity director, social service director, just anything that I can do to be there and be around them and help them out. Okay, so now, good CNAs, bad CNAs. What constitutes a good CNA? I think number one, hands down, is compassion. Okay, you don't have compassion, you might as well not even sign up. Okay, patience, which runs very thin on some days for some people. You need good clinical skills, sure, but I think that falls down under those two things. Integrity, honesty. Why is it there's things getting stolen all the time in nurse homes, right out of patients' rooms? That should not even be a thing. Okay, so, and then bad CNAs. What is a bad CNA? It should never even be hired. And here's my issue, and we talked about this in another one. So, if AI comes up with robots to take care of our old people, in a lot of ways, I feel like that is a positive thing because they're never going to lose patience with your loved one. They're always going to be uplifting and kind, which is what people should be. But that is so not the truth. And you saw the video at the beginning, and I've never seen anything like that in all my years working in nursing homes. So that, I know it happens, but my heart just hopes that that's so very rare. If you have any situations that you know of, please drop them in the comments below. Bad CNAs are just the opposite of a good CNA, right? Neglect, physical, mental, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been watching a lot of, since I've got TikTok now and I'm on TikTok, on my feed is CNAs and elderly patients. So I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of young CNAs bad-mouthing older CNAs. I've seen older CNAs bad-mouthing younger CNAs. I've seen just stuff that shouldn't even be on TikTok, like with their residents and their attitudes. It's really bothers me. Okay, so we've got neglect. You've got they're unprofessional, and here again, the barrier to becoming a CNA is low. And I don't say that, it should be higher. It is a very demanding job that I believe you have to be called to do. If you just want a paycheck, and I'm talking to you CNAs right now, if you just want a paycheck, then go to McDonald's. But I mean, this job is heart and soul. It is, if you can't do that, if you can't love those people, no matter what, yes, they're gonna call you names. Yes, they're gonna poop all over the place. Yes, they're gonna throw up. They're gonna curse you. I mean, it's part of the job. Like, I don't understand how you can do this job and not want to do the job, because I wouldn't stay if it was something I didn't want to do. Because physical and verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and they're just there for a check, like I said. And no call, no shows all the time. That's just disrespectful to your other people that you work with, because then it puts them in the bind that you're working 20 residents to one CNA because somebody's called out and they can't find anybody else to come in. What CNA should provide, this would be a good definition for me. Basic needs. They have to transfer, they have to dress, they have to feed, they have to bathe, they have to groom, and they give emotional support. If there's no family, you're their family. It's a vital, vital role. I mean, I feel like they get disrespected because of the low barrier point to get in. But I never looked at it like that because, I mean, when I went back, even as an older adult, in my early 40s, to go back into CNA again, I didn't want to go back and get a nursing degree. I wanted to be in CNA because CNAs have the most contact with the residents. And that was important to me. I mean, the nurses, you know, they come by and give their medicine, and if they're a good nurse, and I believe they're, again, nursing, if you started out as a CNA and you worked your way up, then I believe it's even better because you're there, you're going to support the CNAs, you're going to help the CNAs, and I believe that's important, even as an RN. Nobody's ever too good to help do the menial work. And I have to say, I mean, I can say bad things, but like one of the last places I worked, the owners, it was a small nonprofit, and he would come in, and if somebody had a messy whatever right there in the floor, he was right there cleaning it up. So even the owner can do it, a RN can do it, an LPN can do it. It doesn't have to just be a CNA, but they do have the hardest job in the facility, hands down. Well, as far as the staff goes. So that is very important. I think those, let's see, we got good, bad. Why do the bad ones stay and the good ones leave? Because then you've got the burnout. Okay, the bad ones are there for a check and they're going to hang out. The good ones leave because they get burned out. They're always doing what they're going above and beyond the call and doing what they're supposed to do. working understaffed. And then management, if management doesn't treat you with respect, then you're going to leave. Okay? And I think that I had a questionnaire I put on TikTok, and I've gotten about 30 or 40 responses from my questions. Why you do what you do, what's the worst day, what does management need to do? And I've gotten some great answers. But you know what? I've only gotten them from the good CNAs. Okay? And most of them love what they do. They've been called to what they do. And they feel like the management doesn't respect them. And families don't understand how hard it is. And I've learned over the years that if every job has its good and bad. And most people, if they've never done your job, they don't understand all of those things. So it's really up to the CNAs and people like me pointing this out to the families. Be nice. I'm just thinking of a TikTok I just saw, though, of a CNA that actually just screamed at a family member. It blew my mind. So cameras in the rooms are always a good idea so you can know what's going on. It's very eye-opening if you have a camera in your room. And then, let's see, families can spot trouble. This is very important, okay? So I've talked to the CNAs. Family members, number one, be supportive of your CNAs, but two, what do you need to look for? Watch their attitudes. I'm sorry, I just feel like if you walk in and they're all sitting down looking at their phones and they're not interacting with the residents, that should be a red flag. They should be either interacting or in a room answering call lights. That's what they're there to do. So they shouldn't be sitting still. Yes, you get a 15-minute break. Yes, you get a lunch break. That's when you should be sitting. The rest of the time, you should be working. And you may disagree with that. And there again, I think that's where it falls into the generational issues. But a CNA job is a CNA job. And here's something that's going to ruffle some feathers, is those fingernails. That just blows my mind. I see all those CNAs with these big long fingernails. How in the world can you clean somebody, put on those gloves and do what you need to do? What about, the scratching their skin that's thin? I just don't even think that those should be allowed in a nursing home. Okay. Staff turnover, which I said before, and another one that you need to ask about when you're there. Talk to the residents privately and ask them about the place. And just watch. Just go and watch. That's all it takes. And you can see. You'll hear it in the hall. You'll hear their attitudes. You'll hear them talking. So pay attention to all of those things. So families, you can't fix it alone. The good CNAs can't fix it alone. What are we supposed to do? I want to hear from you, first of all, in the comments. I'm sure you CNAs, please, you speak up. Families, you speak up. And I've written my senator. I've talked to the Department of Aging. I know that they're on certain issues right now that we are concerned about. And that's a good thing. But I don't see any evidence of anything having changed back since the 80s, like I said, when they took away the restraining orders to keep them restrained in bed and in their wheelchairs with a sheet, which we did in the 80s. So, we started out with the video of that awful, awful scene that was true and happened in Georgia. And so I've seen so many good things, okay? And I want to end on the good note because, I was a CNA for years. I love those people like they were my own mother and my own grandmother. And, I never got mad at them. I didn't holler at them. I got a nickname at some point about dementia, the Dementia Whisperer, and I actually have a Facebook group called the Dementia Whisperer Support Group. But the people with dementia, they need an extra special level of patience. And there again, if you don't have it, then don't be there. Okay, don't work. If you know that you don't have that, then work somewhere else. Don't work with them. But just time after time, story after story of the residents that I worked with and the things that I've seen. Good CNAs. I worked with some amazing CNAs when I worked at the Cambridge House in Bristol, Tennessee. You know, Terry and Sabrina and Dusty and Nick. You know, great. Kim. And I'm leaving out other ones, but it's been a while. It's been a long time, probably about 15 years ago. And we still keep in touch, and some of them are still doing the job. And it is a hard job. It's a rewarding job if you love your job. And I just feel like your loved one deserves the best. It definitely better than that at the beginning. And nursing homes, you know, some people think they're all bad, and they're not. Okay, you just have to be aware, and you have to be involved. And that's what I keep trying to reiterate in all of my videos. Okay, because you never know what's going to happen, and people that are judgmental and, you know, it's black and white, take your mom home, take care of her. Everybody can't do that, period. Okay, so let's drop the judgment and just know that some people are going to have to go. I may have to go. You may have to go. You CNAs may end up there one day yourself. So if you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and know life is short. Okay, you're young now and you're doing your job. Tomorrow you may be there yourself. So let's try to put a little empathy and compassion in our jobs. And families, let's try to put a little empathy and compassion toward the CNAs that are taking care of your loved one. And maybe together we can make this better. Thank you.